and also to give us more insights in terms of what is happening at this moment in South Korea. We're joined by Dr. Robert Edwin Kelly, who's a professor of political science at the Busan National University in Busan, and he's joining us live from South Korea. Now, Dr. Kelly, thank you very much indeed, sir, for taking time out and speaking to us here on WION. And let me, in fact, start off by asking you this. You know, the kind of political crisis that we are witnessing at this moment in Seoul just keeps on getting worse. What is your assessment of the situation that is currently plaguing South Korean politics?
Yeah, I think crisis might be a bit too strong a word, because so far everything has taken place according to the constitutional rules, which is to say that Yoon acted out inappropriately in office. I think that's pretty well understood now. President Yoon did, right? But once that was established, right, once his impeachment vote was passed, once the National Assembly rejected the martial law effort, everything has more or less proceeded the way the Constitution requires. There hasn't been any street violence or anything like that. Nobody's been killed. There was a brief show of force by the military at the parliament that only lasted about an hour, right? So I think what you're seeing is sort of like the larger polarization of South Korean politics taking place. I'm not really sure if I would call it a crisis in the sense that South Korean democracy is going to break down. There's going to be military rule or something like that. There will not be. I think eventually Yoon Suk-Yeol will be impeached and removed, and there will be an election, right? I think this is more the depth of the contest is more an illustration of how sharp right-left political polarization is in South Korea. South Korea's institutions are struggling to accommodate the sharp right-left split in the country.
Right. Now, the government is in fact accusing the opposition of trying to paralyze the entire, essentially the government machinery by staging these protests. In your assessment, how do you think this is a crisis that South Korea will be able to climb out of?
I do. This is, for your viewers, this is something that's actually happened to South Korea before. In 2016, 2017, there was a South Korean president who was at the top of a massive influence peddling scandal. She was quite corrupt. Her name was Park Geun-hye, and she was removed through the impeachment process. The process went through the entire constitutional requirements, right, of both the impeachment in the legislature and then also verification by the Constitutional Court, and all of that happened appropriately. Again, there was no street violence, there were no sort of police beatings of protesters or anything like that, and eventually she was removed and replaced. And I would anticipate that this will follow the same pattern. In a weird kind of way, I guess it's good for South Korea in that they have a template already for actually going through a full impeachment process. It's quite rare in democracies to go through the entire impeachment cycle from start to finish. Probably the most famous example of this would be in 1972, 1973, during the Watergate scandal in the United States. Richard Nixon was impeached, but he was not removed. The process didn't go the entire way because he chose to resign. In South Korea, the last president who was impeached, she went through the entire cycle. So the Koreans actually have some experience, if you will, doing this. So again, I would be surprised if this were to fly off the rails. I mean, I understand the concerns, but I would be genuinely surprised if this were to sort of explode in some way to really damage South Korean democracy permanently.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Kelly, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
Thank you for having me.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.